it is time for a return to Duel Links China, the exclusive version of Duel Links they've got over there, and we're going to do 2 videos on this one. First of all, going through the normal speed duel server because there are some massive changes, different events, cards, campaigns, features, etc. that we haven't got that would be really cool to see in Global Duel Links. Then we'll go to the classic server, which is completely different, its own thing, and there may be a Rush server coming at some point down the line, but that may have been cancelled, we don't know yet. How different is Chinese Duel Links? Well, from the offset, there's not much different, but in here is some really big things. So first of all, is a ban list coming to the game. And yeah, they're getting Global banned, AFD going to 1, Smoke Grenade to 1, all because of the new Fleur skill, right? Sherry came to the game, bringing Bron to Fleur as well, and so that deck has been tearing up ladder and it's been really popular. Now, the big thing is, with the ban lists and maintenances, they get gems as a compensation. Now, I don't know if it's for every ban list, right? I know for most maintenances, they do give out some form of gems, and so that's something we haven't seen in Duel Links, in Global, since what, 2016, 2017, right? Early first year of Duel Links that used to happen, and now it's a thing of the past. It is the 3rd anniversary of the 5Ds world release in Chinese Duel Links, and so there's a bunch going on in the game, right? There's a, I believe, paid campaign where you spin a roulette wheel, you get certain items, and you can obtain things like these lovely sleeves for shooting Quasar Dragon, which we haven't got in Global, and also, the really cool thing, animated live 2D game mats that are exclusive to this version of the game. Now, they have a bunch of these, right? For Sky Strikers, for Trick Stars, for the Silver Cow Coast, Egyptian God cards, Odd Eyes of Raging Dragon, for example, have one, and they've still got the usual slideshow mats, right, like we do, but it's just an extra on top, just a small extra on top. I believe this one here is a card, no, this is a campaign, sure, why not? We've got an event we'll talk about a bit later, and some box stuff we'll talk about again a little bit later, but let's go on into Duel World, and as you can see, they've got the new Duel UI. It's, you know, the same as we've got, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 different areas, but no, there's a 5th area, and this one's got all the things we talked about, what, 2, 3 years ago now, 4 years ago now when we talked about this game. First of all, the clan system where you've got some daily duels to do, and the clan leader can like give you rewards, right? Depending on how many items you've earned as a clan, you can get cards, tickets, skill chips, for example, which is, it's a cool thing, but I don't think it's like that relevant nowadays. There's a clan ranking, so you can see in game which clan is the best one by far, and I believe there's also some like team KC comps they do, or at least there was, I'm not sure they do them anymore, and those have their own accessories, right? They look really cool. So 2 big things here. First of all is the monster gate. Now, this is where you go against different AI duelists, and they have certain rewards, right? So as you can see, this one here has Slate Warrior, has the Skullmeister hand trap, right? You've got Dakini, who of course has some Cyber Angel cards in here as well. It's just another way of playing the game, right? And these are really difficult opponents if you aren't playing a deck kind of based around farming them. So let's quickly go and see what happens. Right here, you've got some missions, right? We're going to go in and choose, I guess, AI Kyber as our partner. We'll choose his deck, and we are going to lose. Just straight up, right? I tried recording this against the Vampire Lord 1, and his skill was to summon back a card from your graveyard with double the attack points. So they'd be bringing out a 4,000 attack monster every single turn, and with a Blue Eye Star deck, I am not going to be dealing with that in any way, shape, or form. So let's see what our Leo Wizard guy has. Summon Little Wizard, that's fine. Hand-wise, not that great, right? Not very, okay, there's Pot of Greed, sure, why not? Another Pot of Greed, just ignoring the ban list, and oh, right, this one. It gains attack every turn, and I believe it can't be destroyed by battle or by card effect. And so, yeah, and it's got 8,000 life points as well. So all of them are different skills, different challenges, and so you've got to beat this, right? To earn the rewards, you've got to complete those missions to gain the rewards, and sometimes they do little campaigns where if you complete certain missions, they'll give you box cards, right? So we're going to go here, Mirror Force. It's not going to do anything, right? Yep, doesn't do anything. Of course, we'll go Spirit of Right to bring into the Dragon Spirit. We'll go in and get rid of one of those back row. Sure, why not? And, you know, those campaigns are really cool because they give you a random box card. So you can get, at least one point in time, ultra rares, super rares right from boxes if you're lucky. And as you can see, every turn, this guy is getting bigger and bigger. Now, the plus side is, we've got Megamorph. That's actually massive. So let's go Pot of Greed. There's Dragon Shrine as well. we'll go Dragon Spirit in for the Blue Eyes White Dragon. Now, this probably isn't going to go that well, because I feel like they can just easily beat over us, right? So let's equip 6,000 attack, go and attack in, and of course, we run into it. Mirror Force of his own. We're going to lose this one, right? But you can see the challenge, right? And that works a bit differently in the classic version. We'll talk about that one in the next video. But finally on here is this. This is the Mind Maze. Now, this is basically the old tabletop RPG event in Duel Links, but fleshed out into its own mode with a custom card pool you can take in, right? You're kind of locked into certain types of cards you take in, and within there, you roll dice, you move along, you face monsters, you roll more dice, you get bonuses, you get bonus cards, and the goal is to get to the end, to get to the character, beat them, and then you get a bunch of currency. Now, I've got a bunch for Akiza, and so we can see, if we go to our rewards, what do we get in here? Well, she's got gems, tickets, but also, you know, the entirety of the Armor Mage stuff, like the first Armor Mage stuff that we got in the card trader, was available by her event. So we can go and spend all of these currency and get, okay, a bunch of gems, right? That's cool. Did we get any cool stuff here? We got some of these crystal things, we got some cards as well, and as you can see, didn't really pull too much. Now, you can use those Akiza crystals to actually buy these cards, so you aren't like locked out outright. Don't actually like pull the cards randomly. So Yusei, for example, has a bunch of junk stuff. He's got, you know, Formula Synchron, stuff we got in the structure deck, right? That was a structure deck for us. If you go to Dark Dimensions, then you've got Mokuba, who has got things like Thunder Dragon Dark, some artifact stuff. Yuma has got, I believe, stuff from his Duelist Road event, just for us. I think this was Duelist Road for us. Maybe also in the first Exo structure deck, I'm not too sure. But that's all old news. We've then got the sidebar. Now, this isn't that exciting, right? There's some paid campaigns, etc. You've got some daily missions where you can just earn free gems, right? Go weekly as well. I believe this one's daily, and this one here, I believe, is once a week. 50 gems. I'll take it. Paid bundles you can go into with their own currency. This one, I believe, is used for the guild stuff. This one, I believe, is used for actually buying packs. And they've also got some, like, cool expansion passes, right? They've got this one here, which gives you these packs over the course of 30 days. This gives you box chips over the course of 30 days, which is pretty cool to see. There's also a full-on battle pass, right? Kind of standard system, right? Where you got a free tier and a paid tier, which we don't have in Duel Links Global. Is this worth it? Probably not. Is it cool to see in this game? Yeah, sure, why not? We've then got another new feature, card collections. Now, this was originally in the classic server. They brought it over to this server, and it's a little bit worse in this one because you don't get as many of the rewards, right? So, as you can see up here, you've got some general collection rewards, right? Getting some box chips and gems, etc. And you can go in and fill your binder with whatever cards you want in them, right? You've got a bunch of pages, there's a bunch of binders to get, and there's a bunch of missions as well for collecting certain cards of a series. So, you collect these Blue Eyes cards, you get a bunch of gems. Get all Sky Strikers, you get a bunch of gems. And if you go to the Duel Studio, you've then got an entire UI where you can see other people's collections. Now, you can go in and just see, okay, let's have a look at this whale. They've got the DMG the book art, and yeah, they've got chronicled out Sky Strikers, chronicled out Cyber Dragon Infinity, which is unlimited. It's not a bundle, and it's not Limit 1, which is kind of crazy. A WHALE whale. You can go in, like their binders, and daily will give you some resources to use. As you saw, there are Chronicle cards, however, they don't work the same as our ones do. Well, they do, but in our game, the foil goes behind the card artwork for a bunch of cards, right? In the Chinese version, it doesn't. There's no masks for the cards, so ours look a little bit better, but I believe theirs work on more cards overall, so it's a bit of a trade-up. We'll then go to the PvP arena, and you can see the server-wide ranking for this season, last season, and also for the arena ranking, which we'll talk about later in the video. But if we click on a player, you can see the user profile. You can see their badges they've earned, their binders, any decks they put in their public thing. They've got a much better profile system than we do, which is really, really baffling. Right here, like they've got these really cool icons here that do seem to be AI-ish, right? Like, they just look kind of AI. This is still a really cool thing to have that we don't have in our version of the game. There's also a weekly ladder report they've got, which like compares the deck type matchup percentages, like the win rates, for example, of going first, going second, which is really cool to see from an official perspective. Now, I can't find it at the moment, but I believe it comes and goes every so often, so I'll post some screenshots of it on screen now. But it's just really cool to see this information officially in-game, which we don't really get to see in our version of Duel Links. And of course, because we have to, let's take a look at the most popular cards in Chinese Duel Links. Of course, Droplet Effect Veiler, Baron de Fleur is in the game, which is kind of crazy, right? No surprise as to why this deck was nerfed. It is the best deck in the game right now. Most popular decks are going to be, Fleur, Evil Eye, Blue Eyes, Sky Strikers. There's Wind Witch, Sacred Beast as well, which is pretty cool to see. We'll then go to the card trader because there's a few things here, right? There's a few things here. So first of all, there's a button here that lets you refresh the card trader. What a great feature we don't have in Global Duel Links. There's also a really big thing with box chips, right? We'll go have a look. An ultra rare costs 100. That's cool. How much does super rare cost? 80. And a rare, 45, and a normal, 30. Why does our version of Duel Links, every card costs 100? Why is the Chinese version way more friendly free-to-play players with their box chips? It doesn't make any sense. I don't know why they did this for us, right? It never made sense from the start, and so seeing Duel Links China have that in particular feels really, really bullshit, right? It just feels really, really bullshit. There's also some other weirdities, right? Like, Cocytus is an ultra rare in their game because they saw how good it was in our version. They thought, you know what? Ultra rare, limit as well on release, that'll do. And if you go to the deck section, right, and you go and look at a deck that someone's built, let's go and take, for example, let's find one with an older theme. So let's go for Shark here, for example. You can see when cards are available via box chips, right? These MSTs are available via box chips. This new ceiling is available via box chips. This is really, really cool, right? Just telling people, hey, these cards you want here, they're free to play accessible. No money required. That's a really cool change that we could easily get in Duel Links Global, but we haven't yet. And this video is going on for really, really long, so let's go to the shop real quick and just talk about that, because their shop is a little bit different from ours in that they've got a really cool new UI. Well, I don't know if it's cool. It's just highlighting, okay, got some deals here, and showing off all of the good cards, right? Mainly the URs and SRs. If you want to see the full pool, you can still see them, right? It's still a bit different from our one, but it's a new UI. Only came in last week, and they've got some exclusive cards we don't have, right? They got a bunch of them, right? They've got some Burning Abyss support, they've got Duragado, Primal Seed, Gauzy Emissary Darkness, Elemental Shadow Mist, and Absolute Zero. There was some Morphtronic and some Traptrix cards in their game before we got them in Global, and Primal Seed in particular was causing some real big trouble in the KC Cup with a China exclusive skill for Buster Blader, which was really funny to actually see happen. And so you might sit there and think, okay, their game is so much better than ours, right? They're getting exclusive cards, why can't we get them? You look at this selection box thing here and go, oh my god, they've got, Baron de Fleur, they've got Chaos Trap Hole, they've got Minerva, they've got Curious as well. This is actually the first time they're getting Treacherous Trap Hole. A card we got in year 2, they've had to wait all the way around until Rainswell has come out to get this card, which is really, really baffling. This blue box here is the equivalent, I believe, of our selection boxes, but I don't believe there is a paywall limit. Now, they do have a red box that is kind of the same vibe, but I believe that one has a paywall limit on it. So you know what we're going to do? Let's go and open some packs. We've only got, for some reason, one at a time. Do not make me do this one at a time. That'll be ridiculous. We're getting Necros cards. Okay. Please let me do 10. Can I do 10? Can I do... You can't. You've just got to do one at a time. That is absolutely archaic. There is a limit on paid packs, right? Oh, Baron de Fleur. Okay. So, as you can see down here, there is a limit on 100 packs opening per day, which is, to do with gambling laws and over in China, right? So there is a limit in that sense, but in terms of packs going with gems, this is fully free to play accessible. And it doesn't really stop there, because you can also go in and buy these binders, you can buy the playmats as well, and there's also some special bundles, including Omega. They've got Omega in Duel Links before we do. And it's just really weird to see a powerful card like this come into their game and seemingly not really do that much, right? It wasn't on the top 50 most used cards that we saw earlier. So it's a bit weird to see this card come to Duel Links and not really do much, but it's still pretty cool. Let's end things off by talking about characters and events, because this is where things get real interesting. So first of all, characters and cards, as you've seen, come in different orders. So for example, they got rid a few months back, but no Lulu. Whereas for us, it was a joint unlock. They've had roaming events from Mizar and Gerag, but no unlock events. They had a raid roaming event, I believe it was, from Mizar, which was kind of weird. We just had a tag duel event, which gave Sherry and Spectre in the same event, which of course for us never happened. Now, the big thing with that is that, unlike in Global Duel Links, they don't do rerun events. So the first time a character is unlockable, it's in the game, and then 2 weeks later, around that time, it's obtainable at the gate. There is no, you get a character unlock, you wait 3 months for a rerun, then 2 months for the gate unlock. There's no arbitrary content lock, which is a really dumb thing Global does, and I don't get why, because in terms of like new players, right, if you are, I always think back to Phantom Knights with Yuto, and Yuto came out, of course, and then he took a long time to get a rerun event, and by the time his rerun event came around, they nerfed the deck, and so if you wanted to play Phantom Knights in that period, you couldn't, because you didn't have the skill, or the character, or level up cards. And so it feels really counterproductive to do that in Global, where you want to make money from these box releases, but you're saying, no, I'm not going to make money from Phantom Knights for the next 3 to 4 months. It's a bit weird. Now, in terms of exclusive events, what have they had? Well, from memory, they've had some anniversary events, which has been PV events, right, with some really cool artwork, just been your normal dueling AI opponents, right, getting rewards. That's been fine. They've also had, as I said before, Team KC Cup events, which, you know, sounds pretty neat. And their KC Cups all have custom accessories for them, sleeves and playmats for getting to high ranking placements, rather than the generic default ones we get that aren't that great. There's also been the Great Battles of Rule PvP event, where they basically give you 2 or so unreleased cards in your deck if you use a certain card type. So for example, the one we got most recently was Thunder Dragons, it was Savage Dragon and Heretic Seal, and a Soul Day if you played Thunders, Dragons, or Warriors. There was one before when Ulticast came out, which gave you Imperm and a good Ulticast trap card, or before that I believe was Max C, Ash Blossom, and Ghost Ogre, which is just a fun thing to do, right? You know, if you're playing insects, then you get the Roach for free, you know? It's not meant to be anything overly amazing, just a fun little PvP event to pass the time. They've then had the Dimension Wars event. Now, this one is essentially a mini KC Cup, right? You had stage 1, and each different dimension, standard, synchro, fusion, exceeds, was 2 days worth, and in that you can duel as many times as you want, but the first 30 duels were the only ones that counted for your ranking, which type, so 30 synchro, 30 exceeds, 30 fusion, etc. And this let you use cards we might never see come to Duel Links at all, right? There was just some bonkers stuff happening, and then the top 4, Victor's mechanics, would then compete in a 16-player tournament, and so that's just a really cool idea that they could experiment with in Global Duel Links, but they don't. And finally is the one live now, and the event that just made me really want to try Duel Links China again, and that is the Super Space Time Arena, also known as Draft Mode. Now, they've done this for DM a couple of times, for GX a couple of times. GX1 had Aeneos in the draft, which is really cool, and now we've got 5D. So how do you enter? Well, first of all, you can either use these tickets or this currency you get by playing the event. We're going to use one of those tickets, sure, why not? Let's log in. We can then choose a character. So here we've been given Jack, Akiza, or Leo. You can get Crow, Yusei, Luna, I believe, as well. And these have all got their own star deck pool, and also their own custom skills for this draft mode. So they'll start with cards in hand or cards in the field. And so I think for this one, we're going to just like show it off, right? Let's go for Jack. We'll choose Jack. We'll go okay. You then get given different card choices to build a collection with that you'll take into your duels. So we've got here a trap card or Red Rising Dragon. Let's pick Red Rising Dragon. We've then got either this guy, or you've got your Red Warg, I believe it is, and your Red Resonator. We'll go for you, why not? This is, I don't know what this does. We'll take it, it's an ultra rare, why not? We'll go for the trap now, why not again? Wild Wind, sure, fair enough. And eventually you're going to find it'll come around to giving you some generic cards, right? So Hyper Librarian, or Mathematician. Globulb is in this as well. Bryanak. Yeah, building out this card collection you will then use to cut down to a 20 or so card deck, or whatever you want to take into the arena, and you will then go in and build your deck. So add in Book of Moon, add in the compulsory. We'll go for the this one as well, why not? I'm just going to make a mashup of a deck, right? This is not going to make any sense. I've forgotten how you play Resonators. I've forgotten the combos. I would have preferred we got Black Wings, because that is just like super easy to play with. Going to take some of these out. So a bunch of these, right? You're going to get Breakthrough Skill by default. Let's just go in and remove a Pointer, or remove Skill Successor, or remove the Call the Haunted as well. And you know what? I'll take in a 25 card deck. I don't know what skill is, why not? We're locking in. That is our deck locked in. We then have a bunch of duels we can play, and as we win duels, we get more rewards. These include these points you use to go back to the draft, but also gems as well. So we can go in, load a game, try and find someone to play with. We found someone, and you basically play until I believe you lose 4 duels, or maybe you go through your entire, like the entire 8 duel run It might be 3 losses actually. I think it's 3 losses that you get and then you're out. And so it works kind of like Magic Arena's drafts. And this is just like, this is what Legacy Duel should have been, in my opinion, right? Your exclusive skills, as we may see with Crow, or maybe not. He's going for the Black Whirlwind, of course. And, you know, you're playing actual anime decks, right? And you're giving cool rewards for it. And that's just like, that's what we want at the end of the day, right? We want this game to be the best it can be. And it just feels really upsetting that, you know, we look over at Duel Links China, and I'm not saying their game is perfect, right? The monetization in their game, as far as I know, is really bad, right? In terms of how frequent boxes come out, it's so hard to keep up with. And of course, you have paywall content, right? And so, you know, in that sense, it's not that great. We're going to go and Lightning Vortex the hell out of this Armed Wing, because why not? And I've forgotten how any of these cards work. I don't think it's going to be special summoned. I think it's just normal summon, and we're just going to hope that the double battle protection is going to actually work. We'll set this this Book of Moon, and maybe, just maybe, we can pull off a random win here, but I doubt it. The attack went through, but again, you know, the Chinese version of the game has some problems, as ours does, but it just feels really, really bad when a lot of times it feels like Global Duel Links, right? They just don't care enough to give us new event types and new features and all that, where, like, you know, we're getting reruns for Tag Duels and KC Cups and Duels Kingdom, and there's no real innovation, where over the pond in China, they're getting stuff like this, right, which would be really fun in the global version of Duel Links, and we're just not getting that. We're getting the scraps. It does seem like we're going to win, which is really, really baffling. Obviously, our Crow didn't open the best, right, and of course our Lightning Vortex did carry us quite a bit there, but we have won our first draft duel with a really bad draft deck. It says 35 minutes. I hope to God I can cut this down, because it has gone on for so long. My quick first look, I guess, at Duel Links China, right? You're getting rewards via this event. I believe it also goes for the ranked ones, which I'll be getting that. And then, of course, as you see here, we're now getting more points, right, if we do win this battle. So you've got 8 duels. If you lose 3, then you're out. I'm going to wrap things up now. I apologize, it was kind of all over the place, just kind of trying to get all the information in there as I can think of it. And we've now got to go through the classic server in its own video. Look forward to that one, because that one is a little bit different from the Duel Links you know and love.